There are only 3 places on her entire body that she has not had a facelift: eyes, ears and nails. The other parts have all been operated on. But the good thing is that the pain is rewarded the moment the gauze was removed. Her beauty stunned all of Japan. Since then, this girl named Lilico has become an overnight sensation. Even if she couldn't sing or act, with her beautiful face alone, she became the most popular idol. Fans are fascinated by her sweet smile in front of the camera, but only those around her know that this is all pretend. Lilico has become particularly arrogant because of her popularity. Like this time, she just didn't have a separate headline. She took it out on her assistant, directly sprayed a mouthful of water on the assistant's face. This show scared no one dared to say anything until Lilico's rich boyfriend came to see her. Only then did Lilico put on a smiling face, but someone else started to linger with her boyfriend. The other people were very understanding. Quickly go out and close the door. She stayed outside and watched in silence. It's not the first time she's been so reckless, but in Lilico's mind, it's alright as long as she keeps looking good. People will tolerate it. Her beauty is her best pass, but she doesn't know that her beauty is counter-visible. This day Lilico was admiring herself, but the moment she plucked her bangs, a dark spot appeared on her forehead. The aftermath of the overhaul began to appear. The company owner rushed her to get it fixed. The doctor didn't say anything, just another surgery. But Lilico was feeling a little panicky. While waiting, a girl suddenly rushed into the hospital. She shouted Lilico's name. Only when Lilico went over did he realize her face is full of black spots. In fact, this is not the first time the hospital has been in trouble. They are already being watched by the police because of the recent deaths of beautiful women. All the victims were regular clients of the hospital. After the police investigation, they found that the hospital used an illegal technique to make plastic surgery more successful, but they didn't tell the girls the price of that success is a lifetime of restorative treatments. If they gave up because they couldn't afford it, there will be a rejection reaction. Of course, in the eyes of the boss, this is no big deal. She ignored the noise outside. She went ahead and scheduled Lilico's surgery. She also asked the doctor for the strongest medicine. The faster Lilico recovered, the sooner he could go out and make money. And so Lilico was put on the operating table again. There was no anesthesia for this cosmetic surgery. She had to be awake. She had to let the needle go through her skin a little bit, but for the sake of beauty. Even though it hurt so much that her arms and legs tremble as she gently holds them up, Lilico still endured it. Luckily, the surgery went very well. With the successful repair, Lilico became the darling of the entertainment industry again. She has received numerous advertisements and endorsements. She smiled sweetly every time she took pictures, but only she knows, as soon as the camera moves away, she feels physically and mentally exhausted. Only by holding on to complete the work. But she felt that she could not hold on any longer. Her body had deteriorated after a long repair operation. Once when she was removing her makeup, she found that the after effects of plastic surgery were getting worse. The dark spots not only grew on her cheeks, even the ones on her forehead were getting bigger and bigger. Looking at herself in the mirror, Lilico finally broke down. If she doesn't look good anymore, then everyone would abandon her. She would never let that happen. Before it all falls apart, she had to hold on to everything around her. Lilico walked out of the bedroom in a frenzy. Her assistant was terrified by her demeanor, but soon Lilico jumped on her. She knew the assistant liked her beauty, deliberately giving in to the assistant, saying that she couldn't do without her. Sure enough, under Lilico's seduction, the assistant succumbed. Let Lilico regain the feeling of control, and she wanted to grab more. She started to make trouble behind the company's back. She got her assistant to reveal her relationship with her rich boyfriend. She found out that her own sister was in Tokyo. She even asked her assistant to bring her to see her. In front of her sister, Lilico finally dropped her facade. She chatted with her sister so quietly and gently. She advised her sister to get a facelift. Only when she looks better will she become stronger. But her sister said she had no money. Lilico then realized the boss said he would help her send money to her family. Was all a lie? Asked the boss. But the boss was stammering. He said he hadn't earned back the money from the previous plastic surgery. The rest of the money was also invested in the restoration. Lilico still didn't answer. Then a girl walked in. The boss hurriedly introduced. This is the newcomer that the company is going to promote. She was only 18 years old and a natural beauty. Looking at her, Lilico had a sense of crisis for the first time. She didn't care about the money or the work. She became obedient again and started to work hard, but this time it did not help. This fresh, pretty face soon replaced Lilico. She was on all the magazine covers. Lilico couldn't take it anymore and went to the rooftop to threaten her boss. Luckily, Her boss arrived in time and gave Lilico a shot of drugs. Only then did she calm down. But then came the second blow. It was revealed that her rich boyfriend had a fiancée. Lilico called to ask questions, but the answer she got was, "I can't possibly marry you." Now Lilico's life is completely collapsed. The only way to stabilize her emotions was through drugs. He started to go crazy. Not only did she take control of her assistant, he also took control of his assistant's boyfriend, asked them to throw acid on the fiancé. Both of them really did it. The incident brought the police. He found Lilico. Seeing that she did not admit and did not force, he just told her. He wanted her to testify about the plastic surgery hospital. Then he gave her a stack of documents. When she got home, Lilico opened the package and started shaking. This is what she used to look like in order to become beautiful. She had thousands of plastic surgery, but now, looking at the photo of her former self, she feels like she's back to her old self again. Lilico couldn't bear it, crawled into bed, and gave herself a strong drug. Only then she could barely recover. Now the drugs were Lilico's only solace, but the overdose also began to make her hallucinate. One time on live TV, the host had just brought out a cake to celebrate Lilico's birthday, but in Lilico's eyes, a million butterflies suddenly flew out. They were swirling around her. She tried desperately to chase them away, but the hallucination became stronger and stronger. The shooting set became a fantasy circus in her eyes, and she was the most pathetic clown of them all. Lilico collapsed in the mess. She still said, and when she woke up, Lilico had a splitting headache. She took the phone from her assistant, only to hear a message from her boss telling her to get some rest, so she's being dumped. Lilico breaks down and roars. The assistant tried to dissuade her, but she pushed her to the ground and ran out in the rain and wind. Now Lilico had nothing left. The glitz and glamour of the past had nothing to do with this wretched woman. Meanwhile, the assistant, who was left in the room, saw the file that Lilico didn't have time to pack. Looking at the fat girl on it, she was silent. The next day, the assistant sent all the collated information to the newspaper, but a strange smile spread across the corners of her mouth. She didn't want to ruin her. She just wanted Lilico to be noticed again, even if it was in this way. And sure enough, the news was a national sensation. It turns out that the perfect goddess is an artificial one. Girls were laughing and laughing while discussing where she got the surgery to become so beautiful. They didn't know Lilico is no longer beautiful. The after effects of plastic surgery began to explode indefinitely. The bruises on her body could no longer be hidden. Her boss arranged for a makeup artist to cover up her blemishes. Lilico had to attend a press conference, saying that she was trying to dispel the rumors. In fact, it was to spend the last bit of heat on her. But at the press conference, Lilico looked at the flashing lights in front of her, suddenly stood up and smiled. It wasn't a compromise. It was defiance. She clutched the knife in her hand. She stabbed herself in the right eye. Abandoned? No, she had to say goodbye to her former self in the most desperate way. From then on, Lilico disappeared and no one knows where she went. Meanwhile, a bizarre bar became famous in the Tokyo underground because everyone was dressed up in strange clothes and partying like crazy. But on this day, a woman finds out that Lilico's former assistant is here and quietly opened a door. She followed her. In the spooky room, the newcomer saw the long-lost Lilico. She was sitting on a throne, spooky but still beautiful. Now she's seen it all, even though once she was a great beauty, and all the people look up to her. But she was never her. She was just a tool for people's desire to be beautiful. She tries to be what they want her to be. But if she's just a little bit bad and a little bit imperfect, the result is ridicule, abandoned. Lilico no longer wants to be parasitized by her desires. She wanted to be the master of her desires, and now she's done it. Upstairs, her bar is still filled with hidden desires, and downstairs she watches with a cold eye, watching countless girls once again stepping into this beautiful trap of desire.